Well, a warm welcome to all of you. This is Fadi, and this is another promotional segment to talk about our upcoming conference, online conference, our first CIRA, basically conference that we will be holding virtually, which is exciting to me because I love virtual stuff, and it allows a lot of people, of course, to come and join us and interact with us without the trouble of even traveling or being concerned about, in these days, COVID or anything like that. So hopefully you will find the conference that will be starting next week on Friday the 6th, going on until Sunday the 8th, called the Gospel of the Kingdom to Muslims. And it will have 3 tracks. The first track, by invitation only. What we mean by that, for secure reason, is people have to register. That's first step. We will be contacting you and vetting you out, second step, and then you'll be given the permission to enter track 1, which is on Friday. That track will have 3 teachers, all are Saudis from Muslim background, of course, and believers in Christ, myself included. But the next 2 tracks on Saturday, November 7th, we have the first part of the day will be Apologetics, and we have amazing teachers like Dr. J. Smith, who is with me here right now, and he'll share a little bit more. We have Dr. David Wood. Then we're going to have a panel where I'm going to have both of them in the panel discussion, and we will be interacting with them as well. And then the second part of that day, which is November 7th, we have a unique track. It's really prophecy and end times, but we want to talk about the positive things that God has in his plan for the Arab world in general, and hopefully the Muslims in particular. And we have speakers that are specialized in that field, and we will also have a panel discussion that will enable you to ask questions. And finally, on Sunday, November 8th, I will be doing a message. I'll be preaching a message from Matthew chapter 24, verse 14, which is the theme passage for this conference. All that to say is, let's now turn our attention to our dear brother here, so he can give you a teaser of what he plans on talking about. Brother, thank you so much, of course, for agreeing to be part of the conference. I am blessed really to have you. I know you're busy, and to be there just will be a huge blessing. But I did not mention any details yet about the topic that you desire to talk about. So why don't you give people a flavor of that?
Okay, and I was fascinated that you introduced David Wood and I as apologetics. We both of us are polemicists. We're much more than apologetics. Apologetics, defending, we let many others who are much more capable to do that. David and I like to go on the offense. And so what we're going to be doing on Saturday, I can't say for David, but certainly what I will be doing is going on the offense against Islam. And what I want to do, and it's what I have been doing, and this is my signature piece, is going back to the 7th century, going back. That's why I'm wearing this shirt. Whenever I'm wearing a green shirt, you pretty well know I'm talking about the 7th and 8th century, that emergent narrative. How did Islam really begin? Where did it come from? Who is this guy named Muhammad? Is there a Mecca? If there is, where is it? And we're going to be confronting, and this is the polemics, we're confronting the 9th and 10th century traditions. So I'm pretty much dismissing the 9th and 10th century and looking at Islam as it, well, really not even Islam, because there is no Islam. We can't find Islam anywhere in the 7th century. We can't find people called Muslims. Maghratais, yes. And so we're going to look at these Maghratai, and we're going to be looking at these people from Tayaye. We're going to be looking, and we pretty much know who Muhammad is now. We know where the historical Muhammad is. He does not come from down south. His name is Ilyas ibn Qabisa, and he comes from much, much further north. In fact, he comes from Iraq. We're going to be looking at Mecca. We have now found that 741 inscription that we're all referring to, and you've referred to it, we didn't read the whole inscription. You need to read all of it to realize that that Mecca that it's referring to has nothing to do with the Hijaz. It's not anywhere near that. It's way up in southern Turkey. It's between Edessa and Haran, known as Mecca. So they've got the wrong Mecca. They've got the wrong Muhammad. But here's what's really interesting. We're going to be looking at the coins. We're going to be looking at the inscriptions, the rock inscriptions. There are 30,000 of these inscriptions, and they have been studied from 640 up until 740, that 100-year period. And guess what we're finding? We can't find any of these inscriptions. Now, the rock inscriptions are like the coins. Both the coins and the rock inscriptions are referring to things that are happening in the 7th. They are actually from the 7th century. They're pristine. They don't deteriorate. They don't disintegrate. And we're looking and seeing what they say, and they don't say anything about Muhammad or Islam or Muslim or in Mecca or the Quran. The 5 things we're looking for, they don't say it, but it's fascinating what they do say. That we're going to be introducing next week. And then we're going to be looking at not only the coins and the Arak inscriptions, we're going to be looking at the claims that Muslims make. We're going to look at the Ashtanami letter. We're going to look at the Constitution of Medina. We're going to look at the Doctrine of Iacobi. We're going to be looking at all these claims that Muslims do say, prove that he was there, that this man there, and we're going to debunk every one of them. It's so much fun, a lot to do. I don't want to say anything more than that. Come on the 7th, because we're going to show you that the Islam that we hear today had nothing to do with the 7th century, had nothing to do with the Umayyads. It has everything to do with the Abbasids. Everything to do with the Abbasid. It is all from Baghdad and later, and that's why all the Qurans are from there. Most of the authority is from, almost all the discussions are coming from that part of the world, and they all begin after 749. And that now you understand why all the traditions were only written from that area, from people from that area, and from that time later on. But that's all going to be happening next week. So we're hitting an awful lot of stuff next week, because we're pretty well going to debunk Muhammad. We're going to debunk Islam. We're going to debunk Muslims. We're going to debunk the Quran, and we're going to debunk Mecca.
You heard the man. That's what the conference will be all about, and especially that particular track. David Wood will be, by the way, with me next week to do a promo also for his segment. He's going to take another approach related to the concept of Tawheed and the Trinity, and he's going to use the Islamic argument and spin it around and show that the Muslims have a bigger conundrum when it comes to that than us defending a doctrine like that. So hopefully you folks are seeing what we're trying to do. First track is evangelism. Second track is apologetics, let's call it polemics in this case. And third track is prophecy and end time. But each one of them, folks, is going to be unique. I want you to take off, from your mind, the traditional way of thinking about apologetics, or the traditional way of thinking about end times, or even if you're attending the evangelism one, because we are going to take unique looks at all of that for the purpose, of course, of bringing our Muslim friends to Christ. Brother, that's fascinating, of course. I mean, it's amazing how you begin to put the pieces together, date-wise at least, and location-wise, and you begin to see that everything is pointing, as I mentioned before, north, not south. Everything is in the Levant area and the surrounding area. Yes, it made its way maybe down south later, of course, that's fine. But we're talking about the origin, where everything appears to have originated.
We'll show all of that. And you and I have done this before. And this is something that I've done with you. We talked about Petra. That's where all the mosques are facing up until 706. We've also talked about the Arabic. We know now that the Tad Marbutu, the Aleph Maksura, the Aleph, all of these come from Nabatean Aramaic. They don't come from Sabbaic. And that's the Sabbaic Arabic that existed there at the time of the 7th century is not the Arabic we see in the Quran. So even the Quran is from much further north, 600 miles further north, in the same place that Petra is. All of this we're going to introduce next week, because it makes it so much easier then for people to really say, you've got the wrong man at the wrong place doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. You've also got the wrong religion, and you've also got the wrong sanctuary. So all of these need to be brought out. We need to start talking about it, because most of what I'll be doing, at least, is a neutral polemic. This is a historical polemic. And to date, I don't see any Muslims that are dealing with this. They have no response to it. And you can see why. Thank God we don't have this problem in Christianity. These kind of questions were all asked of Christianity way back in the 1800s, and we found answers to every one of them. And that's why when you ask these kind of questions, which are redacted criticism or source criticism or historical criticism, you ask them of Christianity, and we can pretty well know who Jesus was, where he lived, what he did, and also that he died and rose again. And we've got the right cities in the right place, the right man at the right time doing the right things. Thank God we can do that and say that. So we are best, you might say, positioned to ask the same questions of Islam. That's what we'll be doing next week. We could do it of any other religion, but for this purposes and for this conference, we'll be doing it of Islam in just over a week.
Wonderful. And folks, I put here some information about the conference. It's in the link. Many of our amazing moderators have shared it with you already, but notice it's the November 6th to the 8th. Notice that also track 1, there is a deadline. It will end in this coming Tuesday, November 3rd. After that, no one will be able to register for that, again, for safety and security reasons, because we have people who do not want to expose their ministry among, let's say, certain countries in the Middle East. Let's just say that only. And then I'll scroll down and you begin to see the different tracks. But I'm going to go way up again. I want you to see it again. This is the theme. This is the logo. These are the amazing speakers that we have, except for Joel. Joel will be recording a session for us, which I did already with him in studio. And then we're going to have it as a bonus for people. And then we have these different tracks. This is the first track that will be for Friday only, November 6th, which will close. The registration will close this coming Tuesday, November 3rd by, I believe, 11 o'clock in the evening. We have the Apologetics or the polemic track. And that's where Dr. Jay Smith and David Wood will present, and then we'll have a panel discussion. Notice it's going to be from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then the third track will be in the afternoon of November 7th, Saturday, November 7th, from 3 p.m. until 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a plenary session and 2 also workshops or sessions, if you wish. And then we will have a panel discussion. This one is also going to be meaty and juicy, and it has a lot of stuff in it from biblical prophecies like the likes of Isaiah 19, the likes of Ezekiel 30, Ezekiel 38, the likes of Isaiah also 60, and so on and so forth. So we will be covering a lot of things. So please take the time to register ASAP. We're looking really for 50 more at least to register between now and next Friday, if that's possible. Otherwise, of course, we understand. If you register and for some reason you weren't able to attend a session, don't worry, everything will be recorded and you will be provided with the recording. So either way, you're not going to miss out on anything. And then I'll be doing my own sermon message online on Sunday, November 8th. So, brother, before we close here, I will be remiss if I don't ask you, what else have you been working on? Because in my mind, really, you're probably a pioneer when it comes to those conundrums, those issues that no one dares to touch. Let's put it this way.
Yeah, the most important thing that we've been working on is the Quran. This is all blown up because of that interview that happened on June 8th with Yasser Qadi and Muhammad Hijab. Those what they call the Qira'at conundrum. These are these 30 official different Qurans. I don't want to bring them down right now. I've got 5 right up there. You can just see them right here. I'm pointing to them. I've now got 10 of these different Qira'ats, and these existed from 736 all the way up until 905 when they were created. Then were considered to be authoritative first in 936 by Ibn Mujahid, and then by Shatabi in 1194 for the 20 or the 14 that came on after the first 7, and then Jaziri, in 1429. So 15th century, all 30 then were chosen. Now look at that date, 15th century. And we're going to be unpacking these. This is not going to be in the conference. These are material that we're looking at. Shadi Nasser just came out with a book last week, and that's looking at the second canon. There are 5 canons of the Quran, 5 different periods of where the Quran was canonized. 652 is the first, 936 is the second, 1194 is the third, 1429 is the 5th, and then 1924 is the 4th, and then 1924 is the 5th. I'm looking at all 5 of these canonizations, and we're pretty much debunking and showing that this book has been manipulated, has been changed, has been accreted, has been deleted, has been corrupted all the way from the very beginning. And we don't even know what the first one is. The first canon we don't even have any reference for, other than the fact it's attributions. So this is the big stuff we're working on, and this is much more powerful in some ways than anything else we're looking at, because we still have these Qira'at in our hands today. 93,000 differences we've been able to find. Just between 2 of them, the Warsh and the Hafs, 5,000 differences. So now, folks, you cannot say any longer that the Quran is preserved. You cannot say any longer that the Quran has no changes of word or letters like Muslims have been trying to tell us for the last century. We've pretty much debunked that, shut that down, and that's why it's gone all over the internet, and that's why we're working on it. That's for a later time, a later date. You and I will be doing some videos on this, and we'll be putting up some films together, Al-Fadi, as we unpack this thing and also look and see what this does not only to the Quran, but what it does to Allah and what it does to Muhammad, because all 3 are impacted by these new findings.
Fascinating, as always. Thank you, brother. And everyone, I just want to remind you again, you can go and register to this conference by clicking on the links provided to you. And I've already provided them in the description box for this particular promo video. And I will continue to do these promos. We're going to have more of the speakers with me on Monday, and also David Wood is going to join me also briefly on Wednesday. So we will be taking a shot at all of this. Or I should say, David will going to join me next week. I can't really, I think it is Wednesday, but he will be joining me anyway. So we will be doing more and more of this. But feel free, folks, to register for this. Spread the word. Post it on your own Facebook pages and YouTube channels and other venues as well. Brother, well, thank you so much, of course, for taking a time out of your busy schedule to be with us here. We are excited to have you, and you and I, of course, will continue our discussions about the specific, details of your role in the conference itself. Okay.
Good. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice day. God bless you. Take care.